Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige, this is Seeking Alexandria, and today I have a review. It's a little late, I'm not gonna lie. I found it in my closet after, okay, I didn't make the initial launch, I don't know how. Somehow it just fluffed away from my brain, and Kathlene Lights collabed with Colourpop and created her Dream Street palette, and I missed the first launch. They relaunched it, I purchased it, and then by then I was like, oh well, it's not like new, so I'll just wait. And then other products came up and I forgot to like give some thoughts on it, so I thought today would be a good day to do just that. I am not gonna give you arm swatches of these. They've been swatched so many times, it's ridiculous, but I do want to use them, get a feel for the consistency, the texture, and see if they're good. Just FYI, I love the arrangement of this palette. I love the colors in this palette. I love how it is so neutral with like a couple intense pops of color, just like some fun. I love this coral shade. Like, I think there's some fun to be had in this palette, depending on like how adventurous you are and how, you know, what you're going for. I'm so intrigued. And P.S. I've never touched this palette. Like, okay. Those are frickin' stunning. So I have no real idea where we're going with this palette. I've already primed and prepped my eyelids, of course, and I think we're just gonna start kind of folding some stuff into the crease. Oh, it got some in my eye. It's not fun. Mayday. Eyeball down. One of the things that I did want to mention that I do like I don't want to say that I hate, but that I'm not a big fan of, is that this palette did not come with a mirror. I know that they try to keep costs low. This was a pretty affordable palette. I don't remember offhand how much it was. Is my receipt in here? I see how it is, Colourpop. Not putting my total on the invoice, so I don't know how much I'd be spending. Yeah, there's nothing in here that says the total. But I did also, FYI, pick up her Dream Team lip set as well. So we'll be doing that at the end of the video. But for now, I guess we're just gonna go in. I'm not gonna try and tell you the colors names because I can't do this. Flip a palette, do this. Like, if the name is right here, I will tell you. Otherwise, not a chance in hell. It's just not going to happen. So let's go ahead. Let's grab my mirror. And I think the first thing we're going to do is start folding this gorgeous shade lightly in. I'm sorry, not this one. I want to fold this pink peachy shade, really fluff that nicely into the crease, and then kind of define the lower outer V with this darker brown next to it. And eventually I want to work a little bit of this guy into the outer V. And I'm testing out some Morphe brushes as well. So I'm starting off with the Y16 brush. So I think that so far, like the positive sides of this, I think that the lighter coral and the lighter brown, they fluffed beautifully into the crease. I mean, just effortless. And again, I initially went in with the Y16. Yes, with the Y16, and then I tapered down to the Y15 for the lighter brown, and then I placed the dark brown with the Y20 brush. These are all from the Morphe Gilded collection, and I just really wanted to see if I could concentrate and work this into that outer V area, and then I went back in with the Y15 to try and raise the outer crease a little bit. I do feel like this dark brown, maybe it's just my palette, but it feels a little bit scratchy and a little bit chalky. It's having a harder time blending. Especially if I compare it to the other two shadows that I blended it with. Those blended in, I mean, they moved like a dream. They didn't grab or cling at all weird. And I do feel like that dark brown shade just kind of got funny. It could just be mine. It could just be like the top layer of the palette. That's always a thing, but mine was a little bit like that. So of course I'm going to tell you. Now I will be fluffing, like you can even see there's some drag lines through here. So I will be fluffing over top of those later with like a combination probably of like that peachy coral and one of the nude brown shades in this palette, just to really fluff everything together. But I do get to, at this point, I get to think about wearing maybe this really beautiful like green turquoise. One of the things that I noticed about the brown, that dark brown in this palette, is that as I was applying it to my eyes, I did get the feeling that there was almost a blue undertone in this brown, that I can understand why it was paired so nicely with the turquoise colors in this palette. I am going to see how this applies first with my finger. It feels very nice and creamy. So the pigmentation is on point, so wow, that's really pretty. Ooh, child, that is gorgeous and reflective and everything in between. I am noticing a little bit of fallout through here. Nothing that's that bad. I am questioning the vibrancy at this point, because like, look at how vibrant it looks on my finger versus my lids. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it has a little something to be desired. I'm just going to wet another flat brush. This is another Morphe brush, but I have no idea which one, but it's just a standard flat little brush. Any flat brush would work. Get that thing out of the way, and I'm just going to give this a little spurtsy. I'm gonna try it on the other eye with a wet brush and see if I get a little bit more of that shimmery funness out of it. Okay, upside, there's no fallout doing it with a brush, and I don't think it's picking up on camera, but in real life, it's actually darker on the side that I applied it with my finger. Like the overall hue is different, which I think is crazy. Okay, I'm gonna go in with a tiny little Y22 brush, and I'm just gonna use this. It's a tiny little pencil brush, and I wanna just lightly, I'm gonna add a little bit of the lighter brown shade that I initially worked into my crease. And I'm just going to use that to kind of buff out the harsher line of that turquoise, because you don't want no harsh lines, honey. Okay, upside, that buffed out like a dream. I'm going to take a little bit of that dark teal color, the matte teal shade, and I am going to see if I like that out here. And I want to tuck it in right underneath of the dark brown that's in my crease. So right here I have the dark brown. I'm just going to place this underneath of it very lightly, just to see if I like the two together, because I still really like the juxtaposition of that, the teal and the turquoisey shimmer color. Like, I want to try and let all these colors still have their moment, because I think that they all look beautiful individual, but I also want them to have like a nice smoky gradient effect. And then I'm going to pop back in with the Y15, which again, the Y, what are these? The Y20, no, the Y16 and the Y15 are very similar. The main difference is that, if you can see it here, this is the Y15, yes, and it just has a pointed like end to it, so it's easier to place color and then buff it out, versus the Y6, what the hell, it's Y16. Why can I not remember that? Why, I get it. But this one just has a more flat, blunted edge to it, which is much better for just like fluffing in general, versus this one again, which has the point to deposit and then fluff out. So they both do have a similar use, but honestly, I'm finding them both incredibly useful. Like, I'm asking myself how I've ever lived without these two shapes. I really like them. Anyways, I'm going to take the Y15 and I'm going to grab just a little tiny, like nervous tiny bit of the light brown, dark brown shade, mix them together. And I want to place them right here and just buff this out one more time, barely touching my eye, and just like tiny little light feathery buffing action here. Buff the wood. Buff the wood. Buff the wood. But not aggressively. No aggressive buffage of the wood. You know what I'm saying? We're very lightly doing this, because honestly, it's on the verge of, if I work it too much more, I'm going to ruin it, and I don't want to ruin it. I just want to make sure that the teal, the brown, and all the crease are very nicely blended. All right, and then next, just because I can't help myself, I can't seem to not be an idiot, I'm going to take a tiny, tiny bit of this, what is this shade? Yet again, I don't know. Kaleidoscope or Mermaid Boy? I'm thinking Kaleidoscope. It's this guy right here. It's just a really nice, like, light color, but still has a little bit of a shimmer pop, and I want to just place this right in the dead center, not too much, just very lightly. I actually really enjoy that a lot. You can see such a difference, you guys. When you have like squattier, which I say that I have squatty eyes, which means that they're very hooded, so they go like this, and they're more narrow this way. So they're very like, ugh, and I have squatty eyes. It's the way it is. Anyways, one of the things that I love doing about like a sultry eye like this is I just love like a deep, intense, smoked out eye. I love it when it's monochromatic. It looks deep and intense. I just love that look. The one thing I don't like is that it does not do anything for my eye shape. So a lot of times I will go in and I'll add just this, which is, it's such a slight difference, but you can see how much it really does open and like emphasize my eye. So a combination between this and then making sure to really deepen up that upper outer V right there really does a lot for my eye shape to like bring it up a little bit. Just things that I've kind of picked up that a lot of you have asked me about. So, you know, those are kind of my two thoughts. Again, a lot of times I will leave it like this, but I feel like it was almost too overwhelming for my eyes today. They needed a little help. So I'm giving them a little something. I'm giving them a little Insta eye lift. No surgery required. Look at that. That is absolutely stunning. I love it. Now for the lower line, lower lash line rather, I obviously want to keep it really open and chill and wha-bam. So I'm going to go in just with that lighter peachy pink coral on the Y22, the little pencil brush. I'm just going to very lightly kind of run that down there. Now, does that look crazy or what? It looks crazy. We're going to go in with a smaller brush. This is the Y20. It's a little bit more rounded, blunted, edged. We're going to go in with the one shimmery shade that I originally wasn't going to use, this guy right here. And we're just going to take a little of that on our little brush, and we're going to use it to blend out that lower lash line. We don't want any harsh lines. I don't care if it's on the upper or the lower, honey. Unless it is an intentional cut crease or something like that, we do not want no harsh lines. Girl, we don't want no line. A line is that thing that don't flatter us no more. We don't want no lines, whether they are panty or on our face. We don't want no lines, no lines. And now just the tiny, tiny, tiniest little bit on our Y22 brush, we're going to go in with the matte teal color just on the outer V, and we're going to connect the two. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Ah. Okay, I don't know where that came from. Let me go ahead. I'm going to throw on a little bit of liner, some mascara, and then we're going to come back and do some final thoughts on this little dreamy street we got right here. Woo! Alright guys, so I obviously went ahead and finished up my face. I love it when you have like a floating hair like right here and you're just like awkwardly trying to grab it. Anyways, real quick, let's talk about her little lip trio that she also did with them. These I did go ahead and swatch. There was 2 satin lips and 1 ultra glossy lip. Now, from top to bottom, the gloss is Moonchild, the middle shade is Dreamy, and the next one is Revere. It looks like Revere or Revere, but she said that was like a French name or something that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce because I have no intelligent diction in my life. But what I do love about this collection is that, okay, the red is not entirely my shade. Like that's a very not so me color, but I love how this color would pair with so many of the options in the palette, and I love how these two pair together. These are what I'm wearing on my lips. I went down first with the ultra satin and then with the gloss on top. This gloss is absolutely beautiful by itself. I think that it shears down to like a beautiful color. It has like specks of gold, but they're not overwhelming. It doesn't look like you just threw confetti on your face. It's just a very beautiful wearable gloss, which I really enjoy. This color I like all right. It's a little too warm for my personal skin tone, but I do like the way that it pairs with the eye, and I like how it all came together, so that I'm a really big fan of. As far as the palette, let's go ahead and have like a little chit chat. I do think that Colourpop shadows are amazing. I think the quality on them has always been, or at least for my shadows, I've bought a ton of personal pans, palettes, I've bought everything in between. And I do think that their formula is really, really nice for being affordable. I'm not going to say drugstore, but for being an affordable option, it is a very nice one to have. My only thing that I wasn't a fan of in this palette that I used, and of this palette I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I used 7 out of 4, 8, 12 shades, so I used over half of them. And the only shadow I had an issue with was that dark brown. I do feel like it was a little bit chalky for my personal liking. The rest of them, though, they're swatching. They feel insanely creamy. Even the mattes feel creamy. That's the only one that doesn't feel, yeah. It is the only one in the palette. There were 3 that I hadn't touched, and I'm like, I better touch those real quick. But for the most part, I do think the quality is definitely here, and I think it's very affordable. I think it's like $16-ish, I want to say. The lip trio, I think you can buy them individually for $6 or in a bundle for $15. It's something like that. Like, the pricing is very, very affordable. Very fun palette to get someone, again, that wants to experiment a little bit. I really enjoyed it. The only thing that for me personally I would have an issue with in this palette, and this is just like from an outside looking in sort of perspective, this is fun, but I also believe that every single color in here is pretty freaking close to some color in the Jaclyn Hill palette, even these 2 turquoise tealy colors. If memory serves, there's something similar to that in the palette. So I don't say that to take anything away from this palette. I just don't know if you have that palette, which so many people in the makeup industry and in the makeup world did purchase because it was an amazing quality, affordable palette. If you have that, I don't know that you need this so much. However, this is like a nice travel-friendly version of that. So there's 2 ways you can look at it. Either way, though, I think this palette by itself for the price is a great option. All right, you guys, that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it was something that was a little bit more fun, fast-paced, a little less slow, a little more bam, bam, right to the point. Eye look, fun, options. You know, I'm trying to move it around a little bit. Some people like swatches. Some people think they're monotonous. Some people, you know, really love watching me do my eyeshadow. Some people are like, no, we hate that. So I'm trying to speed up some parts, slow down others, take stuff out, you know, and really make sure that there's a good variety in these kinds of videos for you guys. That way everybody has a little something. So if you don't like the way that I arranged it this time, I'm sorry, but hey, you had your shot in another video, I'm sure, or you will in another video, I'm sure. Either way, everyone's gonna be happy. So, you guys, I hope you have a great day, night, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this. Don't forget to check my description box for all my social media handles, as well as like Instagram, Snapchat. Those are huge for me. I post like day-to-day looks and what's coming up on my channel on Instagram. On Twitter, I do a ton of like talking, and I communicate with different people. I talk to you guys a lot. So, and I'm also really trying my hardest to make the hashtag End the Stigma and What Holds You Back challenge. I'm really trying to get that moving. And as a side note, I do apologize. I noticed when I checked this morning, which is, oh, I just got lipstick everywhere. But I noticed when I checked this morning that I had accidentally monetized that video. It was not ever meant to be monetized. So I'm very busy. So if you happen to have noticed that and you're like, why would she monetize something like this? I did not mean to. It was an accident. I unmonetized it or demonetized it. So you should be able to watch that without ads, and there's no money and that kind of thing, because that video was never meant to be monetized. It was definitely not intended to be that way. I want it to be something that everyone can come to, and it's a free thing, and it's, I know what I want it to be, and a money maker, quote unquote, is not what it is. So I hope you guys have a okay. I hope you have a great day, night, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this. Hope I don't have lipstick on my teeth. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Da 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 da. Dreaming on Dream Street with turquoise eyes. Lipstick on my hands. Gotta get a wet wipe.